I have around 119,000 followers right now. I would be ignorant to say all of them are interested in what I do.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Michael right here with Top Shot Pro. We got Josh as well. What's up, Josh?
How's it going?
So today we have a very special guest. We have Mike Anderson, Mike J. Anderson, as I met him. And he is one of the co-founders, and correct me if I'm wrong right here, of Brand Dairy Unlimited, right? You also are the host of Hustleaholics podcast. And from what I've seen, I mean, after 100,000 followers on Instagram plus now, you're probably at like 120. But what I've seen is you are one of the entrepreneurs that are coming off the social media age that have really learned to leverage what social media is all about, which I think it's proof of concept and social proof. And the one thing that I appreciated from the very get-go when I met you was you're a connector, but you're also very genuine. You know, you're still a human being. You're not the guy that will post a picture with the Lambo and be like, I'm a cool guy and fuck everybody else. Excuse my language, 21 listeners. But that's what I appreciated. So I want you to kind of like start the floor and, you know, introduce yourself a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your beginnings, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, man, I appreciate the kind words. Definitely appreciate you guys having me hop on for sure. Yeah, man, I'm just a normal ass dude when it comes down to it. That's how I always explain myself in general. I'm a normal dude who was sick of the 9-to-5 life, was sick of working dead end jobs, working in different things. Like, you know, I always talk about the background story of 2 years ago, I was working at Red Robin flipping burgers as a grill chef, right? And I always talk about that. Essentially, what I do is social media marketing, influencer marketing. I work with personal brands and businesses who want to put together high-level influencer marketing campaigns and drive exposure to their pages, both to generate followers and additionally to generate sales with high-level influencer marketing campaigns such as beauty companies, fitness companies, and you know, anybody that can benefit off of using these high-level influencers and the traffic that they can bring. So yeah, man, when it comes down to it, there's definitely a lot I can get into when it comes to my past and my upbringing and you know, like all that different jazz. I think when it really comes down to it, that's what molds who you are, right? So we can take it.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead and let me ask you a question. So 2 years ago, you were working at Red Robin's, you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 2 years ago, this is now it would be 2018, probably it was like 2017, 2018, right?
Yeah.
What caused you to say, you know what, screw this, there's so much opportunity on social media? And how did you begin starting like the development of your personal brand?
Yeah, man, sweating my ass off flipping burgers definitely led me to getting on social media and taking advantage of it. No, but yeah, when it really comes down to it, actually what a lot of people don't know is during that phase of my life, I was actually an artist. So I was actually making music. So I had to learn how to create my own personal brand as an artist. And, you know, I learned how to grow my Instagram through various different strategies that were, you know, very alive and prominent in the past. And I used those strategies to build my own personal brand as an artist. And then when I kind of had that urge to like, hey, I'm really sick of working these jobs and, you know, not getting compensated for what I feel like I deserve. That's when I really started to push my artistry and push my music, as well as developing my personal brand, right? Along with that, because without a personal brand, you can never have success, I really feel. Because you need to be know, liked, and trusted by everybody that comes across you, and social media is what really does that for you. So yeah, man, when it came down to it, I was marketing myself as an artist. I realized that, you know, I was pretty good at doing what I did. I brought my profile, I want to say, from like 1,000 followers to like 8,000 followers through my own organic strategies. And then that's when I realized like, hey, I can do this for other people. So I began to reach out to different people, different family, friends, and, you know, businesses and stuff like that, where I could help them out with growing their page. And that's how I got into the whole Instagram growth world, was really just realizing that, you know, I did it for myself, so I can do it for others as well. And I'm a firm believer in that if you can do anything for yourself, then you can do it for somebody else. You just have to put yourself in their shoes. So yeah, when it comes down to personal branding, like I just said earlier, is honestly the most important thing in building a business right now, I feel. like, even if you have a product-based business, you should be relying on your personal brand more so than your company, because you got to realize that, you know, say you're a company that's creating drones, right? Like you're making drones. Well, what if they pass a law that drones are now illegal, right? Well, your company's fucked, you know? So,
Yeah.
but if you've built your personal brand the whole time, you can just pivot and adjust into a new business. And that's why personal branding is so important, because you got to realize that you will never adopt another identity. You know what I mean? Like, your identity is your identity. So if you're able to mold yourself into a brand, like a true brand, and people know you for different things, like you said, like, people do often reach out to me and say that, you know, you're not one of these guys that posts in Lambos and that's cocky and this and that. Like, people constantly reach out to me. So I have that kind of brand of a genuine person who has just found success on social media, you know, and that allows me to create an infinite amount of connections, you know, that you know, just that identity allows me to do so many different things. So having a personal brand to me is much more important than even having a product, you know, like, just, I even tell people, like, if you don't have a product or a service, just start, you know what I mean? Start getting people to know who you are, because once people know who you are, then you can develop a business.
Absolutely. Yeah. It all comes down to that know, like, and trust factor, right? Like you mentioned earlier.
Sure.
And so we here at TopShotPro, we work with a ton of real estate agents. And real estate agents, I think the medium age range for these guys is between 45 to 60. But there's a new wave of real estate agents that's coming up. People like us that grew up on social media, right, in the digital world. So when they think of real estate, they think, well, I need to be mailing, I need to be doing emails, I need to be cold calling, I need to be prospecting. But how important would it be for a real estate agent to really spend some time developing their personal brand? And what would you recommend that looks like to somebody in the real estate industry as a whole?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one point that just kind of popped into my head, that's definitely going to resonate with a lot of realtors, because I know how much money they spend on marketing and those different facets, like you explained. I actually, when I first started in business, I actually did a little bit of lead generation for realtors, so I do have a little bit of experience in that field. And dude, when you look at what I have, right, I can post something for free on my social media, and close to 30,000 people will view it, right, for free. Not I didn't pay $1 for that, you know.
Yep.
So that right there shows how much power social media has. It's the key to building an audience on these social platforms is realizing that you now have a free market to market to. These platforms are free. It doesn't cost money to be on Instagram. It doesn't cost money to post a picture of your house or post a video of your house, you know, that you're listing, you know. So my thing is, do what you're doing. Like, cool, if you want to spend money on mailers, if you want to spend money on that, that's cool, but start working in social media, because soon enough you're going to adjust 90% of your budget to social media, because you're going to realize that other shit just isn't worth it compared to what you can do on social.
Yeah, it's, you know? it's a lot of free marketing space that's available. And the one big thing, you know, how do you, as you developed your personal brand, how did you kind of keep yourself from, you know, overselling on every single post or anything like that? Because the one thing that we notice with real estate agents is they spend way too much time selling themselves and selling their services, which you should always do. But I think there's a way to balance that out, right? So how do you manage that? Because I mean, I take a look at your content. It's informative, it's motivating, and more than anything, I think essentially it's an extension of who you are, right? But it's a very little selling. And I think, I mean, there's been like once or twice now that we've spent money with you, and it wasn't because you were trying to sell me on something. It was more so because you established trust. So how do you balance that out?
Yeah, no, I think, you know, I look at it as like my own perspective when I'm on social media. You know, like when I'm on Instagram, if I look at somebody who's constantly selling me, then I'm just not interested in what they do. You know, that's just what it comes down to. So I think the main thing is just like not enough people reflect on what they enjoy to see. You know, like you got to kind of think about like, all right, if I enjoy to see somebody's life or what they're doing, or, you know, just different facets of somebody's life, then clearly that's what I should be showing, you know? So I think for me, it's just business isn't for everybody, right? So, so, so like you said, I have around 119,000 followers right now. I would be ignorant to say all of them are interested in what I do, right? A lot of them are interested in different parts of my life, and that's why I show different parts of my life, right? I have a lot of followers who are interested in my relationship, like the way that me and my girlfriend treat each other. I have a lot of people that are interested in the traveling that I do. You got to realize that people fall in love with you, who you are. They don't fall in love with what you do, right? So like mainly nobody really cares what I do that follows me, but once they're ready for the service that I provide, they will reach out to me because they know I'm a genuine person who has showed my life. And I've showed the ups, I've showed the downs, I've talked about the ups, I've talked about the downs. And that is what has molded me into a human being on the platform and not just a user, you know? So I think that's the main thing is like, you know, you can't force stuff down people's throats when you're selling. And I think that's the new age of selling too. Like the 2020s selling is just being you and like just telling people what you have to offer and being a human being. It's not even about overcoming objections anymore and like, you know, hard selling. It's just about like, hey, listen, like I'm a real person. I'm going to be transparent with you. I'm going to tell you what I have. I'm going to tell you what I can do. And if you want it, buy. If you don't, then whatever, have a good one. You know what I mean? That's how I've always taken the road, and it's always worked out for me, you know?
That's awesome.
It's great. So you were talking about a little bit earlier about the influencer marketing campaigns and how like one of the cornerstone services that you offer to your clients is these high-level influencer marketing campaigns to, you know, not only drive the following but also boost the sales as well. So how have those campaigns, you know, been important to you growing your brand?
Yeah, for sure. It's been super important, man. Like the campaigns, they can be viewed, you know, different ways by different people who have had different experiences with different companies. And I think that's really what it comes down to is that, you know, a lot of people that have a negative connotation of that type of service, it's because they worked with a team that didn't really educate them on what the service can provide and how to leverage it, or they just didn't understand what they were getting into, you know, like. So I think really what it comes down to is having the right strategy behind using that type of service. The campaigns do what they're supposed to do. And I always tell people, you just have to be transparent with people, right? Like my main thing is I straight up tell people like, hey, listen, this is to build your brand and this is to elevate your brand, right? There's a thing called social proof. We all know about it, right? And social proof is the fact that people will resonate with your content more if more people are visually, you know, engaging with it, right? So if you look at a user who has 100,000 followers versus a user that has 9,000 followers, I'm sorry, you might hate it, you might love it, but that person's going with the person with 100,000 all day over the person with 9,000. I don't care if the person with 9,000 sold you up the wazoo. You know what I mean? Like when it comes down to it, you view people differently based off of the authority they have on the platform. Right.
Yep.
So these campaigns not only provide a high amount of credibility to your profile, but it also allows you to have an audience to work with. It's about how you work with that audience is up to you. Right. So I tell people all the time, I could get you 1 million followers tomorrow, but it's about what you're going to do with it. And I can't physically, because of my business, like we don't provide really, like we provide social media management, but you know, like we're not completely controlling every aspect of social media for our clients. So I always tell people, I'm like, you know, we can get you 1 million followers, but like you got to put in the work to convert those followers or to be able to, you know, get them interested in what you do. And you do that through effective content. You do that through engaging. Not enough people just think like you post a post on Instagram and you get followers and you get engagement. That's not how it works. Like you have to be active on the platform. You have to engage with people. You have to talk to people. You can't just act like, hey, I'm going to post a video of my listing and somebody's going to buy the property, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
So my advice to, specifically since you guys work with realtors, my advice to realtors in getting involved in a campaign like this is utilize the fact that now you have the credibility on the platform that you look like the top producer, right? You look like the person to work with on the platform. So now how are you going to utilize that look to actually generate sales or generate leads? You do that by talking to people. Go under locations, right? Go under hashtags, go under the different factors on Instagram. It's so easy, dude. Like I moved out to Denver, and within 24 hours, I had a full-time videographer hired, right? Because of Instagram.
Hashtags, man.
Yeah, I came out here and needed a haircut. Within 12 hours, I had a barber who gave me a free haircut because of my followers, right?
Boom.
So that just shows you that utilizing the platform can do so much for you, dude. It's just about how you do it, and it's about the accountability is like the biggest piece. Is like, dude, you're the user behind the platform. Like I said, I can get you 1 million followers, but it's about what you do with them, you know?
Absolutely. And the one big thing I think with influencer marketing and these campaigns is like, that's what doesn't get taught to the people that buy into them, right? It's you buy into this programs, you go ahead and grow your following, and just like with anything else, the engagement is going to be right there at the very beginning, and then it might drop. So to somebody that may be looking to, let's say, invest into an influencer marketing campaign. So I'll use us as an example, right? Some of the influencer campaigns that we did, some were local and some were in Australia. So we got a bunch of Australian people. Now, does that benefit our immediate business right now? Probably not. But the way that we leveraged it and the way that we used it is by creating more content that not only does it educate a younger audience, a younger demographic in what we do, but it gets them cheering for our services because they want to do the same thing where they live at, right? So as a real estate agent whose business is so hyper local, how would you tell them, well, you're about to join this influencer marketing campaign, it's national, and here's how I would leverage it if I were you. How would you do that?
Well, I think one of the first things I would say is like, hey, do you just want to be a DC realtor for the rest of your life, right? Do you just want to be identified as that, or do you want to have a countrywide brand, right? Because what brings you more money? Think about a Ryan Serhant. Like Ryan Serhant might be a New York City realtor, but his brand is global because of the brand that he's built, right? So I think you just have to ask yourself, like, where's the ceiling in what I'm doing? And you know, like that's really like the big thing is, you know, like, hey, if you want to set the ceiling as the top producer in DC, then that's great. Like, congrats to you. I applaud you. That's awesome. And I'll never hate on anybody's goal. But at the same time, if you want to be bigger than that, then that's what national, you know, awareness can provide you. And, you know, just being able to utilize the credibility is the most important part when it comes down to it. Is you now have a credible profile that, you know, look around at your competitors. Do they have the followers that you have? Do they have the brand that you have, right? And yeah, man, like when it comes down to it, like I said before, just find people in the area, because now you have the credibility that if you DM somebody or if you comment on their post, they're gonna look at your page. They're gonna check you out at least. That's what I tell people, is that, you know, the difference is that once you have a brand built on the platform, people give you the time of day.
Yeah.
Before that brand is built, people don't give you the time of day. They don't care.
It's
So
it's a different way. It's crazy.
That's so true, because over the last year, you know, we started the business last year, and I mean, when Josh and I first started, I had like 2,700 followers. Josh, you had like 1,500 followers, I think,
like
right?
That, yeah.
And I mean, we were putting out the same kind of content that we were putting today. It was probably a little worse, right? Because you grow that. And we were doing a lot of outreach, but it just, like you said, people weren't giving us the time of day. We maintained the level of content that we were doing, and we constantly tested it, and we maintained consistency. But then once we built the social proof and had the thousands of followers that, by the way, were all organic, you know, because it's people being told like, hey, go follow this account. And at that point, the user makes a choice, right? Like, I want to follow or I don't want to follow.
Yep.
Excuse me. So once we got that and we broke, let's say, the 10,000s, the 20,000s, and it just organically grew 20, 30, I think we're like at 40,000 right now.
Something,
people just started paying attention and they started listening. And some of the top producing agents, even in our market, they were then starting to pay attention, and they were more willing to, you know, have a meeting with us, to listen to us and be like, well, you guys did it, maybe you can do it for me too. So no, I definitely agree. It's like people do start paying more attention, and it's I see it like, it's sad that it has come to that, you know, that in order for you to pay attention to somebody, but when it elevates your brand and it elevates your business, and if anything, it gives you a platform and a voice on social media, it's just like, what more can you ask for? At this point, you just have to put good content out, and that's it.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is like, you have to kind of think about these services and put them into like the older mindset for people to understand them. You know, like, think about a Starbucks, right? Starbucks has locations on like every corner. 7-Eleven here has locations on literally every corner.
mm-hmm.
Probably some of those locations might not even be profiting, because there's so many locations that, like, how they're all competing with each other, right?
There's too much noise. Yeah,
exactly. But the key is that every time you walk around the corner, you see a 7-Eleven sign. And what does that put into your mind? Like, oh, I should go to 7-Eleven because I forgot that I don't have water. I forgot that I don't have my energy drink for the morning, or whatever the hell it is, you know? So it's like, you have to kind of like put them into real world situations for people to understand what it can do for you, because that's the same thing as social. You know, like, you're putting your profile on 10,000 street corners by getting 10,000 followers, right?
I like that.
So you just have to, there's so many ways that you can break it down, you know? Like, I think people just think it's like completely new. It's all the same thing. It's just different facets. It's different platforms, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so.
And in terms of, so a big part of what we promote, and I mean, I've seen it on your profile, like the branded videos, right? You do a lot of voiceover videos. They're really cool. How important is doing video at a high level, at least on social media right now? Because, you know, you have people like Gary Vee that say, like, just get started, which I agree with. It's like, if all you have is your phone, just get started. But how important do you think it is to like establish yourself as a resource and an established brand to have good quality video?
Yeah, I mean, nobody knows who the hell you are with a photo. You know, like, people don't really know who you are. They know what you look like. They know what you've written in a caption, but video is what brings you to life. You know what I mean? Video is what shows who you are, because it's real footage of you being you, you know? So that's the main thing, is like, video just communicates the message 10 times better than photo does. I've seen engagement spikes on videos compared to photos. I've seen, you know, it's just obvious. You look at everybody's doing video. Why is everybody doing video? Because it works. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it comes down to. So like, for me, my thing is like, the reason why I do video the way that I do it is because I like to see what everybody's doing and try and find a new way to do it, right? So a lot of people are doing the good old, like, you know, like, video with the bar on top, bar on bottom, with the quote on top, with the, you know what I mean, with just the entrepreneur video template, right? It's like copy and paste template for that, which is great. Like, don't get me wrong, because it is captivating. It gets your point across. If you don't have volume on, you can still see what's happening. Like, there's a lot of benefits to it. But for me, what I saw was an opportunity to stand out by doing like more captivating videos, by doing like storyline videos. So what I've done is I've taken that concept and basically like seen that, hey, video is really working for everybody in the entrepreneur space right now. How do I stand out in that? And for me, it was, you know, creating these like emotional videos, or creating these videos that like make you feel something. And for me, honestly, like you said earlier, I'm not somebody who really likes to like, I don't even really show my expertise on my platform, to be honest with you. But I think it's just because like I've built my platform to just be like somebody that you feel open talking to, you know what I mean? And like that's how I've been able to like build my brand. And for me, the videos just kind of like show that I know what I'm talking about, but I can make it really interesting. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you this. I did a video. So I had one of our good friends, Adele. He shot some B-roll of me walking around, then we pieced it together and I did a voiceover, and that was entirely inspired through one of your videos. I was like, let's see if
Appreciate
it works.
that.
And you know, I did like, now looking back in retrospect, I did get like more of an emotional response of like, yo, that video was fire. Because a lot of what Josh and myself work out of is educational based marketing, right? But the reason why we did that is because for a year's time, we had to kind of find the proof of concept of, we can do this and we can do this for you, and this is how we do it. But now we're getting into a point where people are starting to raise their hands, and it's like, all right, now we can dwindle back a little bit and get a little bit more creative with the video. So
For sure.
I mean, I definitely see that. So in a place where everybody has the entrepreneur template, you just chose to try something completely different that was true to you.
Yeah, I think you know, it's all situational too. Like to also add that in there, like I said earlier, I'm a 24-year-old dude that's trying to figure everything out just like everybody else is, you know. So like when it really comes down to it is you know, situationally, there's industries that are better to have like more education-based content. Like I feel like for realtors and stuff like that, you know, it is good to have educational based content because a lot of them are uneducated on the platforms. You know what I mean? So like educational content is key depending on your industry. For me, like I really like to work with people that have already established themselves on social media but want to be bigger, right? So that's why, like for me, it doesn't really matter to educate people. It more so matters to show people who I am and that you can trust me. You know, so like I really think it just depends on your situational standpoint on what you do. But yeah, man, like that was my thought process was, hey, like this is what everybody's doing. Like, let me see how to make it like a little bit more emotional. And with my background also as an artist, like, you know, I shot music videos, I did this, I did that. So I've always been comfortable on camera. And, you know, like I almost considered it like a entrepreneur music video in a way, you know, like it was a way for me to
That's
like
a cool
kind of
way to look at it.
Yeah.
That's fun. All right. So, I mean, as a whole, I think we definitely covered some good topics here. Clarifying the whole approach to influencer marketing was big. You know, there's very few agents that have actually paid attention to it. And I think you clarified it even for us, the whole of like, do you just see yourself as being a hyper local brand, or do you want to have a national audience to essentially like test your limits and see exactly what the ceiling can truly be? So that's excellent. What are some ways, or like what would be the one way, if you could tell or talk to a real estate agent today that's looking to get started in building their personal brand, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we touched on earlier is like most importantly, like be you, be genuine, show your life. Don't just show your listings. Don't just show, you know, business life. Like be you, because I've worked with realtors in the same way of building their brands and building their personal brands on the platform, and you know, like they really stand out because of their personality and who they are. I work with this realtor, Michael Turbot, who's in North Carolina, and he's just like, the way he does things is great. He's just like super different than your average realtor. Like he'll do like somersaults on the rug before a video starts. You know what I mean? Like he'll do like some crazy shit to capture your attention, but he realizes that, and he's like a 45, 50-year-old dude, you know, but he realizes that captivating attention is what's important on social media. So if you're a realtor that is looking to build a personal brand, what I would say is that there's 3 different aspects to Instagram that's super important. And I'm talking about Instagram because I only really talk about what I know, and that's what I know. So when it comes down to it, it's building your credibility. So for me, for our company, how we do that is through influencer marketing campaigns. But if you want to do it organically, it's just going to take longer. So you just have to engage. You know, there's the 3-2-1 strategy, which we often talk about, my partner and I. It's when you come across a profile, you come across a prospect or somebody you want to connect with, like 3 photos, comment on 2 of them, and then respond to a story post. That's how we've always done our outreach, and it's always been the best way. Our difference is the story post. A lot of people just do DMs. Our story post responses, we found have a higher conversion rate because it's like an easy way to add value to what somebody's already talking about. You know, like if somebody posted a motivational thing on their story, you can hop in and say like, man, this is great. Like, appreciate you sharing this or whatever it is. Yeah. Instead of just saying like, hey, my name's Mike Anderson and I do this and I do that, you know. Right. So my thing is just be creative. You know, social media is free when it comes down to it. So allow yourself to experiment, allow yourself to figure out how you can become you on the platform, because not everybody can share every facet of their life, you know? And we've even seen it with a lot of these stars who they're trying to document their full lives, and then they get kind of like fucked because of it, you know? Like Jake Paul recently, who's one of them, who was genuinely like really trying to document what was happening down in Arizona in Scottsdale, and ultimately he had issues come out of it because people accused him of looting and people accused him of this and that. And like, you know, that's a content creator trying to document what's going on right now in the world. So
Yeah.
you know, you just have to really, when it comes down to it, is you have to find your lane, and you have to find a way to stand out on the platform. So if you want to build your personal brand, be you when it comes down to it.
That's great, man.
So, do you have any other questions, Josh?
I don't think so.
That was really
We
good.
talked
That was
about
really
a lot of good stuff today, and you know, it's gonna be a great piece of content to go out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I just want to take the time to thank you, Mike, everybody, Mike Anderson. And where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Mike J Anderson is my my username there. And yeah, you can find me there and shoot me a DM. I'm pretty open to chatting. So
Absolutely.
talk to you guys soon.
Take care, man.
Appreciate it,
Thanks,
guys.
Mike.